Hello class, today we continue our lesson in unit number 4 on the topic comedy law, fundamental changes in the comedy. In this session, we will have a conversation between two lawyers. The one is more experienced and the other is younger, and they are sharing the experience um, in increasing the capital of a comedy. Because of the number of steps for getting everything done. So they will mention some steps that will be in the checklist. And that's why the term checklist appeared in this session. It's a useful tool for them to check whether the procedure could be accomplished properly. Okay. Similarly, I would like you to focus on some objectives that I would like you to obtain after this lesson. The first one, because our topic is about checklist, that's why after this lesson, I would like you to know the necessity of using a checklist in your work in the future. And I hope after this lesson, you may put everything in order for getting your work done suitably. And the second one is about vocabulary. Of course, there are so many vocabularies in the conversation, and you have to understand them and also use them in proper ways when you are in the similar communication. And the third one, some essential phrases for explaining procedure will be mentioned in the conversation. And I want you to accomplish these phrases or expression in the communication, then use them for the further practice in speaking at the end of the lesson. For practice activity or in listening, you will have a task of getting general information. General information here is about how to make everything clear when you try to approach the general point in the communication. You don't need to give me the detailed information or the detailed point in the communication. Just focus on what's going on in the communication and what things you should focus on over the period of the conversation. All right. The next one is for gut feeling and checking details. Of course, you may have gut feeling activities again. However, in this session, you will have a very long checklist, and in which the lawyers will talking some main points that you should follow. That's why gut feeling here is about a checklist that help you to order the information in the right ways. And the last one for speaking practice. It's time for you to find your own partners, and after that, apply the essential phrases for explaining procedures. Then, with based on the communication of the lawyers, you may practice with your partner for using it in explanation, and it will give you the task clearly at the end of the lesson. Okay. Right. Now moving to the first part of our lesson. This is about revision of vocabulary. Yes, we've got 27 words and phrases on the screen, and please focus on the topic in the circle in the center of the diagram. Fundamental changes to comedies. Okay. This they are the familiar words or phrases that you have approached in this unit, and you can back to your textbook on page 40. 48. After that, read information there for getting the right word for each plank. Fortunately, I think um, each gap is providing you with the beginning letter. That's why it's very easy for you to get everything done properly and completely. For this one, please pause the video in some minutes. I think 10 minutes are enough. After that, try to fitting out all of the question here by yourself. There are 27 gaps in total. And don't be panicked to move to the next slide because the answer of this diagram will be reviewed there. Now, pause this video in few minutes. Okay, thank you. Now, it's time for you to check your answer. The explanation or definition of these terms will be in your textbook and in the previous lesson as well. That's why if you want to check it, you can raise the answer to me or then or check the check all of those in your communicate or in your dictionary. Because we are talking something relating to checklists, that's why the questions in discussion today is about checklist as well. The first question, what is a checklist? I would like you to give me the definition of checklist according to your understanding. Number two, why are they useful? Why do we need checklists? And the last one, have you ever used one? For the first two questions, you have to use some theory or according to or use your own knowledge to answer this question. But number three, use your own experience to give me some main points or some um, necessary information that you have experienced in the past. All right. Now you can pause these videos in 5 minutes, then answer this question by yourself. Okay, thank you. Number one and number two could be reviewed in your textbook. On page 53, you may read introduction of of our session today, and you can get the answer very easily for the first two questions. And for number three, just keep the answers by yourself, and you may share this one when you are in the activity with your partners at the end of the lesson. Now, the first part of our lesson is vocabulary. All of the vocabulary here will appear in the conversation, and I would like you to understand them clearly. And after that, you may answer this question or finish the task following as easy as possible. Okay. Now the first one, a quorum. I would give you the definition for this word uh, by explaining. However, for the complicated words or phrases, I will type on the screen for you to easily follow. All right. For example, with the first word, a quorum is a time to talk about the minimum number of people required so that business can be carried out. Okay. Now, that's why when talking about this time, you have to think about, okay, the first one, a quorum a quorum. When talking about this time, you have to think about the minimum number of people. And this number could be in the meeting, could be in an organization required. Okay. Now the next word is about convened. Convened is a verb. That's why I would like to give you an example for make it clear. If you convene a meeting, you arrange it formally. All right. Now look at this example, and you may consider convene as the verb organization, gather, or get, or try to put everyone in one place at the same time. Okay, it could be gather, or get everyone to gather at one place. Okay. The next word is, or the next phrase actually, an extraordinary general meeting. Well, it's kind of a long phrase. However, you in the abbreviation of this phrase, you may get this kind of AGM. AGM is a very special meeting of a company's directors and its shareholders. Okay. Now the next one is about an ordinary resolution. Ordinary resolution is a noun to talk about a determination of policy by the board of directors of a corporation. Okay, with ordinary resolution, we have to pay attention to the expression. An ordinary resolution is about its kind of policy determined by the boards of directors. Does it? Okay. So the next one is a proceed. A proceed is a document written by shareholders in which someone else, and depending on this, someone else can vote for him or her. Okay. A proceed written documents by shareholders that someone can vote for her or him. The next word is a simple majority. A simple majority is kind of very complicated word. Okay, I'm going to write about a simple majority. A simple majority And when talking about this term, we also have the other ones, an overall majority, and the next one is an absolute majority. Okay, a simple majority is about the number of votes. Votes that are more than any of the alternative. All right. Simply, you can understand it. A simple majority is about the number of votes when your votes are less than half of the number of voters. However, it's still higher than the others in the bonds. All right. Less than half of voters, but still more than the others in the bonds. In the poll or in the organization. All right. Now it's time for you to read the explanation again. Okay. The next one is about an overall majority. Overall majority is a term. It's a term used in a situation when your votes, more than all of the alternative put together, your votes will be more than all of the alternative. The alternatives put together. For example, if Labor took on 42, it would still be 13 seats. It would still be 13 seats short of an overall majority. Okay. It's very clearly for you to have the example for these terms. And the last one, an absolute majority, is quite simpler because it will talk about your votes which would be more than 50% of voters registered. Okay. All right. The last word is slash. Now, please consider this information. The example here: if you launch a document with an organization, you register it by delivering it to that organization. And in this case, lodge is kind of empower or deliver something. All right, it is a verb. That's why in this case you can just kind of consider this word as those terms or those meanings. All right, now thank you for your time to pay attention to a vocabulary explanation. If you have any questions or you can understand them clearly, you can raise your questions to my email and I will try to answer those questions as soon as possible. Okay, now next one is about the listening activity. In this activity, you will have time to check your understanding in general information. Okay, now use the audio file that I sent you few weeks ago for answer this question. Okay, please play the listening recording of this conversation in unit number 4. So listen to the dialogue and answer this question. The answer would be in the whole conversation. However, during the time of listening, you have to recognize what the main points are. For example, number 1, what kind of change are they discussing? Okay, and that's why we have to focus on what kind of information they are talking about. So you may get the answer in the beginning of the discussion, right? And number 2, what 2 meetings need to be held? You have to focus on 2 kind of meeting here, and the answer could be in the middle of the conversation. That's why you focus on them. After that, point out the answer. And number 3, how many documents need to be filed at company's house? The keywords here are as company house. That's why when you figure out the supporting of this word in the conversation, just pay attention to those or what or everything could happen in company house, and then pick out the information about documents here. Okay, point out how many documents, point out the number of documents, then list the name of those in your answer. Okay, and I think for this question you may get the answer or script of the conversation in the back of your book. That's why don't panic to go to the back of your books to review in advance. Just finish them by yourself. First, after that, go to your book for double check. All right. Now, pause this video to listen to the conversation. Okay, thank you. Now, go to your textbook for checking before going to the next slide to continue the other activity. Now, the other activity in our session today is about gut feeling and checking detail. I want to mention checking detail because you will cover the whole conversation for getting the detailed information. Here, we have a table with so many steps on it. So you have to listen to the conversation again, complete the missing items from number 1 to number 10. After that, I don't want you to check whether they are in the checklist or not, but try to recognize the misinformation based on the conversation. Okay. Now, please focus on the number of words here. Using up to 3 words for each space. That means the maximum numbers of words are phrased here are 3. Okay. Before I break the table into 2 parts, from number 1 to number 5 and number 6 to number Number 10, I want to make it very easy for you to follow or to remember step by step. That's why this time for you to pause the videos in some minutes uh, for run through from number 1 to number 5 first. After that, um, during this period, you have to recognize the keywords or main points of each question. Also, please predict what type of information do you need for each gap from number 1 to number 5. All right. And after understand this clearly, please move to the rest of the question 6 to 10 and do the same things as you did in from number 1 to number 5. Okay. And I think you have up to 3 minutes for you to read all the question and missing gaps here. Okay, pause the video to review on the questions. Okay, thank you. Now please play the listening recording again to listen, and you will have the answer keys in the back of your book. After get everything done, go to the back of your book for checking. Thank you. Now, the next part is about the procedures using some explanation. According to the conversation of two lawyers in the recording, they are using some phrases or points that will help to have the very smooth conversation. Because we are talking about a checklist, that's why some supporting or some sequences we should use in our conversation would be after that, afterwards, at this point, following this, once you have done that, subsequently. Like all of them are very necessary for it or for you to use it when you are in the same conversation. And of course, we are talking about a checklist. That's why all of the steps in your checklist should be done properly and strictly. And you have to follow them very stringently. So some keywords you have to use in this case is modal verbs of obligation. That's why I'm listing some necessary modal verbs here, such as have to, must, to be required, or to be necessary. Okay, now please read the information or please read the statement with the words in bold, or if you wish, you can back to your book on page 55 for getting some expression in detail. And I hope you can build this expression in your mind for further use in the future. Okay, the last part is about speaking practice. Okay, after understand clearly the conversation between two lawyers and also getting some main points of how to make a checklist and how to use expression in explanation of a checklist, it's time for you to apply them in your conversation. Okay, and topic today is about it's about the step of drafting a contract. Okay, now please read introduction carefully, and I want you to keep in your mind simply um, about drafting first. In legal English, drafting is very important, and because this is a way for us to put the words together on paper to create rights and duty. All right, that's why this that's why this legal document requires drafted to predict what may happen in the future based on a certain context or clients. So checklist should be used in this case. Then the requirements and consideration will be accomplished properly. Okay. After this slide, I will provide you with a box in which several steps will be mentioned. And also, together with the box, I will send you with a paper, a checklist for drafting good contracts. This paper will provide you with a bunch of information how to make a checklist for drafting. However, you will focus on the main point. Read the paper thoughtfully, pick up the main point, list it in your own checklist. That means I will allow you to find your own partners. After that, discuss with your partners carefully which information you should put in your checklist. Okay. After that, using the phrasing or explanation or expression in the previous slide for helping you to convey your conversation. The conversation will be in approximately 5 or 10 minutes. That's why I don't want you to cover all the information on the paper. Please discuss and have a talk with your friend carefully. After that, use the main one or concentrate on explaining the key terms. Okay. Your conversation would be video, or you have to make a video of your conversation before the deadline, March 23rd on in 20 and on 2020, and after that, your monitor will collect all of your production. Then your monitor will send your production to me on March 23rd. Okay, again, you have to finish all of your production, all of your video before this day, and after that, your monitors will collect all of your production, then send them back to me on this day. I don't want to get everything after this day. Okay, and this slide is for you to have a very the step for drafting a document. Please focus on the step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you will have some information in detail when reading the paper. All right. Okay. Thanks for your listening. This time for it to finish the lesson today. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ask me through my email. See you next time.